Welcome back to Neveu. It's been a few sessions, 5 in total, that we took a break from Neveu with the extraordinary adoption. But now we're back to the textbook and to chapter 21, which is the imperative form. So in other words, the do it form, which is what we have illustrated on the right-hand side. And let's go straight into it. All right, I hope everybody can see clearly. I'd have a lot of examples in here just to show how many of those verbs there are. Well, let's go into the forms first. For many verbs, the imperative looks just like the infinitive. In other words, when you see sejam, it could mean to listen, or it could be the beginning of a sejam F form if there's something after it, or it could be the imperative. You really can't tell. Only from context and from if there's an object pronoun from the shape of the object pronoun. And it may even have been pronounced the same, at least in Coptic. It's the same as the infinitive. So you say sotem. Sotem is also the infinitive. So tina sotem, I will hear, but it's also the imperative, sotem. Same thing, for example, for Peter. Look, this one does survive into Coptic as pore, but it means dream. So the meaning has shifted quite significantly. That's why I didn't put it. But yeah, that verb is still around. In Egyptian, of course, it means to look. And Peter very often takes the meaning of muk in Middle Egyptian, like look or see or behold or whatever verb you want to use in English. And you see, those look just like the stem or just like the infinitive. All textbooks say infinitive, which would make me think that for weak verbs, you would see a T there, right? And I'm not sure if that ever happens because, well, a lot of the weak verbs, they are constructed differently anyways. They get an extra yod in front of it. And some of those, or many of those, actually survive into Coptic. Like, for example, jet, to say, becomes ejet in late Egyptian, say. This one, I only know the nominal and pronominal form, like say it, for example. So if there was a suffix or a noun afterwards, it's aji. Normally to say would be jo with an omega, but the imperative is aji. So it has definitely a different vocalism, and it has a little vowel in front of the j, which is interesting. So your question, Chris, for just before, like when before we came on with the camera. So I take this first little vowel to be what this yod is, just an indication that there's something that normally isn't there before the first consonant. And that happens with a lot of verbs. Like, for example, wach is to stop. Actually has a lot of meanings. But when you have it in the imperative like this, iwach, it would be stop. In Bohairic and Sahidic, it becomes awo, and in Bohairic, woch, they have a very different meaning. It's basically the word for and. It literally add this, because like I said, wach has a lot of different meanings to it. More straightforward, iri, to do, but the imperative has an extra e, so iir becomes arire in Sahidic and ariwi in Bohairic. Ine becomes iin, anine and aniwi. Shem to go, probably she at this point in time. I don't think that the final M is still pronounced. Becomes basically ishem or ishe. This is an interesting one. When is to open? And if you look at the vocalism of the others, you might think, oh, that should be E-win. If you look at Coptic, it's actually awon, which is interesting. So it doesn't get an E, it gets a long O, which must have been a long R earlier, which at least Cherney thinks means that this E goes in front of the normal infinitive. I can't comment on that, but basically it could mean that behind these forms, different vocalism could be hiding that we can't see because it's not written. But all you can tell is there was a first vowel before the normal root consonants. But what's going on in the stem is not necessarily given either. Wish we had a time machine. Ias, hurry, iuch, send, like send me, for example, iuch we, send me to the place, blah, blah, blah. Ihab, also to send by in the sense of like send me news, write to me, becomes hope in Coptic. Imech, fill, becomes much in Coptic. Iger, be silent or be quiet. Um, so yeah, lots of these verbs, especially biliterals or triliterals that lose a consonant or have a weak consonant, they like to get that extra y in front of it. Um, there are other verb forms that also get the yod, namely, as you guys have seen already, it's being used also for the relatives and participles, and it's also being used for the second tense. I don't see anything in common between them. So I assume it's just that you're trying to indicate the vowel pattern, that there's like this extra vowel and they just all happen to have that kind of vocalization pattern. But I don't know that. If there are any links whatsoever, I kind of doubt it though. If you look at other languages, imperatives and for nouns, vocatives, they often have a different stress pattern. And I think that's just what this could be. But yeah, be it as it may. They're two highly irregular verbs, just like in Middle Egyptian, that hasn't changed. For to come, it is me in the masculine. It's also me in the feminine, but sometimes they write an extra sitting woman there. And that could be an indication that you already have the same thing that's going on in Coptic, namely you have Amu and Ame, or Ami, depending on how you want to pronounce the eta. So there's a difference between male and female in this verb, in the imperative. So come to a man and come to a woman is expressed differently. And there's a plural form. If you see it with an extra N, that's actually mean, or in Coptic, amein, amoine, or amoini in Bohairic, basically meaning come, but in the plural. Or maybe also, I think sometimes like let's, like a cohortative, I think. I could be wrong about that. And then the last one I need to mention is RD or D to give. The imperative is imi. Again, this is very similar to Middle Egyptian. In Coptic, it becomes ma. It's kind of curious that the one that has like a little reed leaf in front loses the vowel in Coptic. So it's not ama, but ma. And the one that doesn't gets one. Amu, ami, amini, amoini. Kind of interesting. It always trips me up, honestly. I always have to think like which is which. But yeah, so me is come and imi is give. Any questions about the forms? That was quite a bit in one go. So it is a distinct form. One could argue, is this just the infinitive, or is there a separate imperative and you just can't see the vocalism from the structure of the verb? It's impossible to resolve, right? If it's spelled the same way, then all you can do is you can look at Coptic and say, well, the imperative for most verbs looks like the infinitive, so we're going to say it is the infinitive. And there may be another reason to think that maybe it is just the infinitive when you look at the negation. We're going to get there in about half an hour. But yeah, uh, I think that's about all that comes to mind about how these forms are formed. Or maybe one last thing. The little e is often there, but it's not always there. You will sometimes see jed instead of ejed. You will sometimes see in instead of ein. Um, so that you don't have it on one of those verbs doesn't mean it's not an imperative. Although I think more often than not, it's there. It's a good indicator for the imperative. All right. Well, then let's go to how you actually use it. So one thing that is different between the imperative and the infinitive is it uses the dependent pronoun as the direct object. So if you wanted to say bring him, it would be iin su. It would not be iin tuf or iin nef. I mean, normally it wouldn't be in standard grammar, but you use we, you use tu or ti, and you use su and set for the direct object, whom you're bringing or what you're doing or what you're saying. So I have a few examples here. If you guys want to try those, most are from Neveu, but I've smuggled a few extras in, all originals though. Um, so yeah, anybody want to try this one? The verb in here is ra or ra, which is to put or to leave, becomes ko in Coptic. Let me put the transliteration of the first one. These are all pretty straightforward. So in su is bring him, or maybe it.
The next one would be E high set. So leave her.
Yeah, or look at the. It could be, but more likely with the plural strokes.
No, them. Yeah.
Correct. More likely them. It could be a misspelling for her, but more likely I said bring them. Bring them, leave them. That's correct. All right, next one.
Could it be loosen them or free them?
I think the latter. I think it could be maybe it could be. Sounds plausible. Wouldn't surprise me because that's what it could mean in Coptic, right? Like ko ebol or something. Like
Yes, because
let
ko
them go.
becomes kind of the catch-all word for forgive us our sins, release the person,
Right,
loosen. And over the months, I've thought to myself, the root meaning seems to be to untie,
right.
loosen,
Or let go, basically. Yeah.
let go.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see, incidentally, just see in Middle Egyptian, there is a verb, waha, meaning loose, or
Oh,
also means stop work. It's got a funny little symbol in front of it, but it's the
it's the same.
same
Does it have a
letter.
W in front or what's in front?
Yeah, it's WH dot
Huh,
and then a little E. Ah,
right. I wonder if they're related. Could be. I'm not sure. How about the next one, which also lives on in
checking.
Coptic?
Mehdi.
Imerti. That's right.
Fill her. Fill them. It. Fill it.
Um, well, there's one more person. Let's try one one person that you left out.
Oh, it's not him.
Nope. What is T or two?
I thought it was a feminine thing. I don't know.
Plural,
Uh, Go
plural,
again?
plural,
It's not a plural. Could it be a plural?
impersonal.
Good guess. But actually, it's the second person. Uh, fill yourself with I don't know all good things of the that this house has to offer or whatever. Fill yourself. Always one thing you can always keep in mind that all these pronouns can be reflexive, and then in an imperative that could just mean yourself.
You're a good teacher, Aurelio, because it's like dealing with children that, however irrelevant, you say, my case, so who was Jesus? And they say, this is my transformer. And you say, oh, that's a lovely transformer. Um, and Jesus transformed himself. Don't say, that is such a bad suggestion, child, go away. So thank you for that.
Oh no. I think we're doing great here. So, okie doke. The next one doesn't have an E, so but it's the same thing. It could have an E there. It would be the same thing. What does it mean though? And what is it?
Bring me.
That's right. And transliteration?
Inui.
Inui. Yeah. Inui. And I'm not going to write E in because if they wanted to write E in, they would have written E in. But for this verb, you could definitely see it with an extra yod in front as well. Um, this we pronoun, of course, dies out in Coptic. You don't have that anymore. But in Late Egyptian, it's still alive and kicking as an object pronoun. The subject pronoun is tui, but the object pronoun me is we. Um, yeah, well done. Now, as you may remember, we're getting a new object pronoun in Late Egyptian, which is basically two plus the suffix pronouns. And you sometimes see that too. So when you wanted to say give him, you would expect imisu, and you will see that, but you will also see this. Now, it sounds like the guy on Jeopardy, but you will also see this. Personal pronouns for 500 or 400 or whatever.
It was Imi2F.
Imi too.
What is imituv? Yes, you got it. Very true. Okay. So basically bring him or bring it, because by the late Egyptian phase, it could also be masculine. In Middle Egyptian, the neuter is always feminine, but that changes in Late Egyptian. All right, what about the next one? Sorry, I'm probably covering it, right? Here we go.
E01. Tak. E01.
That's right. And what does it mean? Oops.
See, yeah.
This one is a bit more tricky meaning-wise. Look.
Remove yourself or remove.
Perfect. That's
Remove
exactly what it
yourself.
is. I mean, it can really be remove something from some place or from somebody, but in this case, it's like you said, remove yourself or get lost. So, all right.
We could use that one. That'd be very useful.
There you go.
Say it in Egyptian.
Oh, there is this thing. Unfortunately, it's not in English. I don't know. Can you see that? Let me see if I.
Is it Buzz Lightyear?
Not quite, but close. No, I can't do it because of the. No,
Oh,
here
yes.
it is.
What's that?
So it's a series of little language guides. So you can buy, I don't know, Scots for traveling, or Greek, or Uruguayan Spanish, or whatever. They specialize in more like dialects and niche things. And this one is Late Egyptian for beginners, basically. It's a phrase book for travelers. I picked that up probably 30 years ago in Germany. Unfortunately, there's only a German and a French edition, but they're doing that. They're basically this guy, Carsten Poist, who's a well-known Coptologist. Or Egyptologist in general, but Coptic, I think, is a specialty. Yeah, he wrote that, and he wrote it like a travel guide. So there's sentences in there like, don't ever do this again, or it's good what you have done, or I would like to exchange these sandals for a beer, or basically things that you could really say in a day-to-day situation. It's been 2 weeks that I've been in Egypt. I want to travel to Memphis and things like that. And it's all good, vocalized Late Egyptian. It's just such a fun book, but unfortunately only in German or French.
That is great. It's typical of the French. When I was doing French as a child, we had to learn phrases like me cheat at cards, not on your life.
Wait, what?
You have to learn these irrelevant phrases.
That's so cute. Me
Cheat
cheat
at cards, not on your life. And that's a little useful phrase. And sometimes now I think about using it when someone's falsely accusing me.
All right. There is a comedy bit on that about what was it? The cat is on the chair, the mouse is on the table, and the monkey's on the branch. Now try to weave that into a conversation, basically. But yeah, I'll leave that.
I do remember a phrase book in quite an old travel guide book in Maltese.
Oh, wow.
And,
Okay.
and it consisted of a series of instructions. Pick that up, put it there.
Oh, yes.
You are charging me too much.
Too funny. I've seen that. Like I have that for some Chinese dialect as well, where you can clearly tell it's written in a very colonial situation, basically. It's quite interesting. All right, but back to our phrase book. What I should mention, so datives, that's interesting. Cherney Grohl pointed out that the dative objects, which normally like to come very close to the verb, right? But for imperatives, they come after the direct object. So, for example, what was it? Cha'asu would be leave it or leave him. Now, you can sometimes use the dative. This would literally be for yourself, but it's just to reinforce the imperative. It's to say like, in Spanish, you sometimes do that too. Vete, go yourself. And of course you go yourself. I mean, whom else could you go? But that's the way how you would express it. And they do that too. They have the so-called ethical dative, which just basically means it's not that you're giving it to somebody. It's more like some kind of abstract you yourself. So in this case, like put it yourself or leave it yourself or something, but literally just leave it. Or for example, I'm going to do this one because it's tricky. Us is to hurry, to hurry. Ias set ni, hurry them to me. In other words, bring them to me quickly. It's a kind of idiomatic thing. I should probably write this one out. Us Set ni. Literally hurry them to me. And you sort of understand what that means, but that means like bring them to me quickly. And yeah, the interesting thing here is the set comes before the ni. That's only true with pronominal objects, though. If it were a nominal object, it would come after the dative. So that doesn't change. Cool. So this is how you form the imperative with objects. Dependent pronoun, that's really like the too long didn't read. The takeaway is dependent pronoun is the normal function, but don't be surprised if you see the tuf or tuk. And yeah, no, that's it. Those are the two options that you're normally going to find. Let's do some examples. I think it says examples. Yes, examples. So as usual, I've given the words that may be new. Mechad or mechad, or however you pronounce that, is a storehouse, or is it a granary? A granary, right?
Is that to do with the word to fill?
Probably not. I think it's a nominal form of kher. Like in Arabic, I'm not sure about Hebrew. You often form nouns by putting an M in front of it, and that becomes the doer. That's very common in Arabic. I think it may also be there in Hebrew. I'm not sure. But yeah, so Egyptian does that as well. There are quite a few nouns.
Is it the same word as treasure, treasure store? Yeah, I've just think these words always come up. I can't think where, but I've thought about this before. Does it mean wheat, or can it mean like the treasury where the king keeps his silver or his debit?
I'd have to check. I'm not sure. But yeah, what about the sentence itself?
Yeah, I'll go.
All right.
All right, so we have Shemet.
That's right.
Shemet. E01 بعد خير. Khair.
That's right.
Khairet. I see a bread loaf on there. Oh no, wait.
It shouldn't be there. I'm going to put it. But technically, that's one of those things that I think both of those should probably not have a T. But yeah, it's there. And what does it mean?
Go out and open the granary, I guess. Oh, go out. Open the granary.
Yes. Go out and open the granary or the doors of the granary. Yeah, that's it.
Is this the reason why you said it may be an infinitive? I'm just curious because it had that T on it, the Shemet.
Yeah, I don't think it is in this case because I mean it's not the infinitive because the infinitive doesn't have an E, right? I'm
saying, but you
thinking
said that may be an infinitive before when you was introducing imperative.
Yeah, I was saying that for a different reason, which is there is a way how to say don't do by putting tem in front of it. And tem normally is for infinitives, right? So that would make you think that some of the imperatives, if you can negate them by putting a tem, well, it would be logical for them to be infinitives. And you can't tell because you only see the consonants. But this one, which has an E in front of it, definitely is not, which is what makes me think that the T at the end is probably just graphical, just like a hypercorrection. Because it doesn't seem like those imperatives normally have a T. So I think they're just I mean,
what kind of person is this? I mean, is it you all go out, or you feminine go out?
That's a really good question. So here's the thing. If there's no pronoun indicated, the imperative could be any of the three. It could be you masculine singular, it could be you feminine singular, and it could be you plural, any gender. And the only verb that has a difference is e to come. That one has separate forms for male, female, and plural. But all the others, just like in Coptic, you can't tell. They are yeah, what's it, unisex, so to say.
That's really interesting. So what about you guys that do Middle Egyptian or Early Egyptian or whatever? Did they have those things then and they lost them?
I don't think so, right?
Hang on.
I would claim Middle Egyptian is just as, even though it's highly gendered and everything else, but the imperative is not.
interesting and what that might mean about their culture.
Hmm.
I mean, that, well, it's just, really fascinating because I've got used to thinking like an American, thanks to you, lot. And so, like you say, you all go out,
Hmm.
um, and you using a way so you know who you're referring to. And I wonder whether that tea meant that it was a gaggle of women go out or something. What the
Gotcha.
tea was for.
There is one interesting example that I did include because there's one case where it looks like they're trying to write the plural by adding plural strokes, even though the form of the verb doesn't change, but they're actually putting it, I think, on the next page, if not on the last one. So we're gonna get there. What on earth?
Because it is interesting. Let's say you had 5 boats and you said put out to sea. Well, if all 5 go out and you only want one to go out, that's pretty serious.
I mean, what you could always do is you could address them with a pronoun first, like "oh, you" or something like that, you know. So there's strategies around it. I don't think you're going to be in a situation where you would just say the two of you to the front door, the other three to the back, and it would work. But it's interesting. Like for example, Indo-European languages normally feature a an imperative plural like woka wokate. I mean, you make a difference whether you're saying you call or you guys, y'all. I can't even do it in English, but you know what I mean. I hope.
Yeah,
Cool.
I just looked up my Middle Egyptian dictionary for Meher, and it doesn't have the yacht or the T in it. It has the house sign at the end, but
Mm.
neither of those other things. I have the impression that there's a hypercorrection thing where I think that's the right word, where they put a T on the end because somebody said infinitives always end in T wrongly, and
Or
so T's creep in where they shouldn't.
that's part of it. I think
And
that's
I suspect another thing is T is a sort of, they didn't say T's properly, I think, anyway. I think they sort of dissolved into glottal stops at the ends of words. And so the T in writing sometimes can just be a separator between words.
it could be, or it could just be a
What do you
vowel,
think?
a final vowel. So the theory is that it goes from like et, like with a final T, to with a glottal stop, and ultimately just to a vowel. I'm not exactly sure where we are on this timeline. I thought, just given on how often they write the T word doesn't belong, my personal theory is that that's a final vowel at this point in time. So just like in French, when you see an E at the end of a word, that's normally because it used to be. Oh wait, that's a bad example. Because it's of course not a remnant of a T. How do I say this? Nah, it's not a good example. Never mind. Could it be a glottal stop?
Well, I mean, like ENT is a third person plural French verb,
Right.
and it isn't there
It
anymore.
isn't there
They
anymore.
stopped saying it.
Right. And I think something very similar is going on here. And as a result, they often put it. I'm just trying to get my French analogy again, and I can't. Damn. Um, I mean, a little bit like in French, you put a final S all over the place, like j'ai fini, and you write that finis with
Yeah,
an S, even though this never had an S in Latin. I mean, that is completely
yeah,
made up. But oh yeah, since we put our S's all over the place, might as well here.
yeah.
But yeah, it's a hypercorrection thing, or maybe a vowel marker, or both, honestly. I wouldn't be surprised if there's some vowel marking going on.
Yeah.
Cool. Want to take the next one?
I'll go again.
Okay,
Need to practice. Yeah.
Good man.
that's good. That's good. Mhm.
So we have heb, ne,
Mhm.
pa, netcher, hem, or him netcher.
Mhm.
There's a e him netcher e, not e, him netcher n.
And that's your in. Correct. Very good.
And then we have het or hoot, hoot, het heru.
Yeah, you're right. It's Hathor. Het, het. Mhm. Mhm. That's right.
Erzed,
Mhm.
mi shesep set.
Shesep set. Yes, perfect. All right. And meaning?
So we have bring, I guess, bring down to me or send to me
Mhm.
the chief priest or no, not the chief priest, but the priest of Hathor.
Mhm.
I guess saying Erjed, respect to saying. Bring, I don't know what this is. What is Shesep? Bring to me, not bring to me, bring, what is this word? Shesep. Shesep. Yeah, what's this word here?
The shesep is to receive.
I'll receive.
To
Come.
receive. So E is not bring, but E is sorry, E that me comes from is not bring, but is to come.
Oh, I said bring. I'm sorry. Yeah, come. Yes,
It
come.
makes more sense with come. That's why I thought I should point that out.
So,
So me shesep sit.
come to something them again. What is it again? Shesep.
Come to receive them or come and get them, basically. Come to get them. Like whatever it is that, like, I don't know, we've prepared the wood for the boat of Amun, come and get it, basically. Something of that nature. Now, well done. That is a possible interpretation. So second part is perfect. Come and get them. First part, it's a possible interpretation to say, send to me the priest of Amun to say would be possible, but it doesn't have to be an imperative. It could also just be a normal Sejm F. Rab ni pahemnitcher Hathor Ajud. The priest of Hathor sent to me to say, namely saying, come and get them. I think that makes more sense in context. Although the alternative you picked, interpreting this as an imperative, it's possible. I mean, it's not wrong, but in context, it certainly made more sense to say the priest said to me, so that becomes a Sechem F form. And this is the subject, the priest of Hathor, and the ni gets in between because it's a pronominal dative, and they just like to put that between the verb and the subject, which is super confusing for English speakers or German speakers, because we just don't do that. But yeah.
So in order for this to be an imperative, it was something would need to be in between the nominal dative, the pronominal dative, and the imperative, right? In order for this to act as a imperative.
No, honestly, this by itself, if we forget about the erjet, and just had this could indeed mean send to me the priest of Hathor. It would be okay. That's why I'm saying it's not wrong. Just in context, then when you add the arjet to say, that's a bit weird. Like send him to say to me, take them. That doesn't quite fit. But if you ignore everything that comes after and you think, hey, this is all about the imperative, so this has to be an imperative, it does definitely work grammatically. So it's not wrong. So yeah, well done. Cool. How about the next one? And you need two words for this. One is mor. So this is spelled like Mary to love, but it has an extra W and it has this piece of cloth here, basically. That's a sash. So an item of clothing. Lives on as a band or sash in Coptic, mor. And then there is the word mer, which is spelled merit here, which is shore or the riverbank, basically. Not the shore of the ocean, but in this case, the bank of the Nile or the shore. And I happen to know the background of this one. This is a lady is asking a guy to help her sell an item, namely the aforesaid sash, that she believes is worth a certain amount of money. And she's basically telling him, well, what is she telling him?
I'll try, but
All
I'm just
right.
going to be hard. So, used.
Oh,
Ooh,
Oopsie. That's like that's gonna be next semester, yeah. Okay.
Did it? Something like that. Did
Did, yeah, that's right.
I've learned all this lot from you, by the way, all of you, because I don't ever do the homework, but I'm somehow picking it up. Ni.
Mhm.
Aha.
Not aha, but this one here.
Speak.
This is the word one. Wa.
Oh, wa.
Whoops.
Wa.
What did I do? Hang on, I broke everything. Here we go. All right. Wa.
Wa. Muru.
That's right.
I love that. And then this is the word which means say, to say. Did.
Jit. That's right.
Did.
Yeah.
I'm doing it purely by association. It's wonderful. Im. Ma. Ima.
Imi. This is an M. This is confusing because you think it would be ma, but it has like a complicated phonetic history. Originally, this has like a little nu jar, that little round jar in the hand, and was really me. At this point in time, some like Satzinger writes it like this. He writes EMM because that's what's really there, EMM. But I'm just going to go with what I think Neveu has, IMI.
Imi su merit.
That's right. Perfect.
Okay, now, this is going to be some kind of imperative. So,
This is very good.
So it's something to do with a sash. You're telling someone to do something with a sash to
That's
the
right.
riverbank shore. Gosh. Well, perhaps they're on a boat.
Could be.
Throw my sash and let it wash up on the shore? No. Okay, I give up.
Well, let's see what you can make out of the first part though. So
Make it a bit
you
bigger. I can't see it.
oh, I'm sorry. So you said hadi ni. What do you make out of that? Forget about the rest for a moment.
Is that the command?
Is it what?
A command.
I didn't catch it.
Is it a imperative?
It's not. And actually, some things that you guys will see, whatever the lesson topic is, I normally put in blue.
Oh, okay,
There's a little discreet hint there
Thank you. That's
that tells you
helpful.
which ones are the imperatives and which ones aren't.
Okay, that's really helpful. Right. It's not like is it I
Close.
or
Close.
and?
Now, closer in a way. So let's put it this way. How would you say I give?
Can't remember.
Okay, so it would be almost like in Coptic. Tui ger dit. I upon giving. Tui ger dit. If you wanted to make it while I am giving, it would be iui ger dit. I being upon giving. However, you use this EU form very often also like the historical past, like in a narration. You start the paragraph with something, and then he did this, or and then she did this, and then she did this, and then she did this. And that's the verb form that you have here. So you have you said, and then she, did, she gave, and she gave ni, or ni.
Me.
She gave me, wa meru.
One or a sash.
She gave me a sash. Abject.
Upon.
Maybe upon, or literally to, like towards saying, which basically means saying. Saying. And then what and then what she says. So this is an imperative, as indicated by the blue color. And so that was Imi. Imi came from which? Close. Give. It's ma in Coptic. It's ma in Coptic.
Give. You give.
Give, yeah.
Implicitly. It's assuming you give.
The su is it. It refers back to the sash.
And is it gendered or grammatically gendered?
Yeah, meru is masculine, I think. So that's why the su would fit actually. Because it's the gender of whatever you're giving. And since the sash.
Give it to shore. Give it to the shore. Am I allowed to add in an article?
To the shore. That's perfectly fine. Yeah. The rules for when you put an article are super complicated between languages. Like, for example, you go to the university, but you go to school. Makes sense of that. That one has an article, and you just have to know. You go to sea, but you go to the mountains. I mean, makes sense out of it. It's really in Egyptian the same thing happens when you have like common nouns that are almost like set expressions. You don't put the article. So that's why it doesn't say to the shore here, but we have to do it in English. You may ask why to the shore. Like I said, I happen to know this one. It's from there in Medina. And of course, the village is quite a bit away from the river, but the river is where the trading and the exchange happens. Imagine the ships are, it's like the train station, basically. That's where the ships arrive. That's where you get new goods. That's where trading happens. She wants to sell that sash. So she tells her friend, basically, hey, next time you go down to the river, take this and sell it for X. Funny thing, he comes back with a sixth of the value because nobody wanted it. So he really managed to sell it only way below price. And that's what they documented in writing, that this is how it went down. But yeah, that's the whole story behind it.
Oh, it's so interesting. I just love this.
Fun, huh?
You know, what was a sash? Is it women's clothing? Can you use it for priestly robe? You know,
I was wondering the same.
take my scarf down to the shopping mall, effectively.
Right. Essentially, or the market. Essentially, imagine it like a market, but it's happening on the riverbank. And I'm not sure if any of you guys are getting the Nile magazine this month, or the October edition of Nile has beautiful tomb paintings. Unfortunately, the original doesn't exist anymore. It's gone kaput over the last 100 years, but they still have the early copies from the early 1900s, and it basically shows a I don't know, Syrian maybe, somewhere on the Levant, ship arriving on the riverbank in Egypt. And you see basically beautifully like all those foreign looking, all those foreigners on the boat with all their goods coming down. And then you have the little like what you call it, stalls of the Egyptian vendors by the seaside, and they're interacting with each other. It's a beautiful piece. Maybe, yeah, I'll see if I can find a photo or something of it.
It's funny you should say that, because I was at that very moment thinking about Vogue.
About what? I'm sorry, Vogue?
Vogue. It's a magazine, a bit like Dial, but it's about sashes.
Got it.
I was literally thinking about that.
Got it. Well, I'll try to find a photo of it later. But yeah, so that's the situation that happens here, a little snippet of life. Let me see, we're doing good on time. Anybody want to take the next one? This verb to
I can have a go at it.
Please do. Awesome.
I think it's ear
Mhm.
submitter.
Mhm.
F submitter. F Bajan
That's right.
An.
That's right. Very good.
Now, then the next sentence, which is sort of separated. Jedef
Mhm.
Iwach.
Correct.
Right. Jed-E.
Very good. Oops. I can't
Just
do
an E.
exclamation marks, but yeah, okay.
I think we've come across this sentence somewhere else, so I feel I'm cheating a bit.
I think we had it before, but that's okay. There's a lot of good grammar in this one.
I think we did. Then Jed-NF. Jed-Nef. Do you say Nef? Is that how you would pronounce it?
In Coptic, it's Naf, so I think it's probably
All
Nef.
right. So
But a lot of people say
Nef.
Nef. Mhm.
Chat,
Chat.
which usually has an E on the end of it, I
I
think.
think it's Chati, yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. Mhm.
Ejed. Ka. Ear. Took.
Very good. All right. Let's make sense out of this. This one has a few grammatical traps in it.
Yeah, it's funny, this ear submitter doing ear.
Mhm.
Ear. Submitter is to question.
Correct.
Question. So I think it means he was questioned with a staff again.
Correct. Again,
It's a
mark
fine turn of
well.
phrase.
First time wasn't enough. Yeah.
Fine
Yeah.
turn of phrase.
That's right.
And
And
Anne is again,
Mhm.
which I remember because the legs are pointing backwards to have another go.
Correct. Correct.
And
Oh, thank you for that. Ha ha ha. Fail.
No?
I had the legs backwards, unfortunately. They should be the other way around. So
Yeah, they should be backwards. Oh, I
they
think
should be
that's right.
backwards. And they're
That's
not.
right.
They should be like this. Hang on. I messed that up.
You sure?
What is this again? I can never remember. D55. Egyptian. Yes, I am. It should be like this because right now whoops, they're facing in the direction,
Yeah.
in the reading direction. They should be going backwards, just like you said. So good catch.
Yes. Yeah.
Very good.
Where did we get to? And then Jedeth, he said,
Correct. So this is a past tense.
Iwach,
hmm
stop,
hmm
imperative.
hmm
Jed-E,
hmm
which I speak.
I speak, but more properly for Lady Egyptian, because I speak would be
Yeah, be
tu
heard.
tu kachet, right?
Yeah,
So this is more prospective, subjunctive.
yeah.
I may speak, or rather, even better, I will speak.
I
Makes
will
more sense,
speak.
right? I will speak. I'll say something. I'll
Right.
talk. I'll talk, I think is what you said in
Yeah,
in
I
the
get the
situation.
gist of it.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay. hmm
and then the next bit is Jedaneth said to him,
hmm
the vizier,
Uh-huh.
the chatty,
Yeah.
then imperative again, Ejed, say. I think it means say what you did,
That's correct. That's exactly what it
but I
is.
don't quite follow the grammar.
Yeah, you did it, or you did. This is a relative. So the relative form gets a yod in late Egyptian. The participle also gets a yod. The difference between them is the participle doesn't have a personal ending. So this is like a mini relative sentence for the past tense, that which you did, basically. So say that which you did. And yeah, that's what it is.
It
is
isn't the pastime the pow.
Is it what I'm so again?
It's a pastime pow.
Past tense.
So it makes it
Yeah,
something that happens before.
it's anterior. Yeah, you're right.
Not the, but yeah.
It's not contemporary, it's anterior to the main action. That's right. That's right. By having that, otherwise, I wonder what you would do. Would you form that with enti or neti? I think you might. There's this whole complicated, like for which tense do you use which relative construction? And like you correctly said, this indicates that this is something that happened, I think, before the current action. So tell us what you did, not what you're doing.
is this some kind of police situation with the staff?
I think
Yes,
it's a
it is.
tomb robbery case, isn't it? It's a
Probably. Or it probably is, but it's definitely a police protocol.
yeah.
And yeah,
And
definitely
also,
is.
just to say that the Anne, just to say that lives on in Coptic, doesn't it? In on for
Yes,
again.
that's on. That's on.
Does it?
It does. Yeah, yeah. It definitely does. I mean, quite a few words here live on. They just some of them change meaning. Bajan I always find easy to remember because it sounds just like baton in English, but it has nothing to do with it, of course, because the baton has a s originally in there, baston, bastone, so no relationship, but a good way how to remember this word.
Or truncheon.
A truncheon, that isn't that more like a
Um,
yeah, I was about to say that's the next level up, right? But I'm sure it wasn't pleasant. So this sentence here is great just in terms of all the grammar. You have a past tense here, you have an imperative, you have a prospective, you have another past tense with a nominal subject. That's why the nef comes in between. And then you have another imperative, and then a very similar looking relative because it also has the little e in front of it, but you can see by the k at the end of it and by the meaning, this must be something different. And so then where your mind would go, well, what's the next thing it could be? It could be a participle slash relative, or it could be a second tense. And with an article in front of it, this has to be some kind of nominal form. So that really only leaves the participle or
Right.
relative. So that's how you would like, if you, ideally reading, of course, is always like just reading it. But if you need to pull it apart and figure out what the different pieces are, that's how I would go about it. Very good. Any questions so far? If not, I mean, it's overall pretty straightforward. What we haven't discussed yet is how to negate the whole thing. Whoops. And I have the feeling this will only come next time. Just looking at the clock. Okay, but I have one topic in between, which is more details on the construction. So one thing you'll find that is super common is EMI give plus subjunctive. So a subjunctive or prospective sedgem F form. Give that somebody does something. Basically have somebody do something, let somebody do something. That is super common. So for example, this example here, EMI give into that one may bring. Na tewut, I think, tewut, the sandals, ta unut, within the hour. Let me write this down again. EMI give into. That is a sedgem F form. The verb is in front, and then comes the personal suffix. If I wanted to say, give that he bring, it would be EMI enough. EMI enough that he bring, blah, blah, blah. EMI inu, give that they bring. But in this case, I don't care who's going to bring them. Just somebody has got to do a job. So EMI into, give that one bring. Na the. That looks weird. Na chewut. Although that T is definitely dead by this point in time, but okay. Becomes towe, sandal in Coptic. And then comes an adverb, a time adverb, ta unut, which basically means right away, right? Within the hour. Okay, so that's what that is. So the interesting thing is you have an imperative and you have it followed by a subjunctive. And the subjunctive is a sedgem F form, so it has some kind of suffix, or there could be a noun as well. Give that the men imi in naremich do something that they bring. So that would also be possible. Okay, here's an example. Somebody wants to take it.
So it's Imi Jadu Ha Heperu or Heper Heb.
That's right. And what do you make out of that meaning-wise?
Cause that you say that which happened, all that happened.
That's right. That who says?
That you. Or is it we? It's you, isn't it?
That would be 10.
Okay, so it's we.
That would be N.
It's us then.
It's them. Because that they say it's late Egyptian. I mean, Middle Egyptian would be Jedsen or Jedasen or something.
Yeah,
But
my pronouns are horrible.
no worries. Because that they say everything that happened, basically. And maybe a little bit, depending on the situation, it could either be let them say everything that happened, or going back to our previous scenario, it could be make them say everything that happened. So it depends a little bit on context, what we want to put in English. But
Make them spill the beans. Make them spill the beans.
Exactly. So any of those. So yeah, literally give that they may say the which happened everything. So it's a bit different from English, but of course it is. I mean, it's not even related. All right. So that construction you will see a ton of. Emi plus a verb in the subjunctive is something you see all the time. These here are reasonably frequent, especially when you look at all three together. Individually, all of them occur off and on. It's ways how to reinforce the imperative. And I don't know, can we do this in English? Do this for me. I guess we would put a now or then, or I can't think of a good way how to do it in English, honestly. You do it for me, you. I mean, that sounds weird. But in Egyptian, you can do that. You can put tu, which is the old pronoun you. It's not felt that way anymore. They treat it like a particle, but it's originally actually I think that is supposed to be a dependent pronoun. And basically, you can use that to reinforce the imperative. So, for example, here, E01 jetney, they said to me, that's our you jet, so that's our historical past. And they said to me, imitu, give you pai the silver, or this silver. So it really just means give the silver, produce the silver, but then you reinforce it by putting an extra two in there. I don't know how to imitate that in English, honestly.
I think sometimes in like an American, they say, give the silver already. You add another word.
Nice. I like it. Something like that. Something like that.
I hope you're all pleased with my progress in American.
I'll leave that to the native speakers.
Yeah, or maybe even you give the silver.
Right.
Here you give the silver.
Right.
Yes.
It's somehow, and I mean, that's the closest actually. You give the silver. It has a notion there in there that I'm making it extra. I'm emphasizing it. This is what you got to do. Okay. So something of that nature. So you can use the two that way. I'm looking at the clock and I'm thinking we're right upon the hour. I have a little bit more for next time.
Oh, French.
Should we cut here and pick this up the next time?
Sorry for talking so much, but it levens it for the people that are going to watch it in 100 years' time.
All right. Now we just need to get it to be monetized and we're good. But no, at least I'm having fun. So yeah, let's continue here in 2 weeks. And thanks
Yeah,
for
thank you
everybody
so
dialing
much.
in, especially for
Great.
those who are staying away from Thanksgiving. So appreciate it. Have a good weekend. Enjoy.
Happy
Thank you.
Thanksgiving.